Hey, MMT followers, Christina Fuges with another MMT chat from MoldMaking Technology. My guest today is Dave DiCarlo. He is Program and Sales Manager for Michael Tool and Mold out of Ontario, Canada. And he is also one of MoldMaking Technology's newer Editorial Advisory Board members. So hello, Dave.
Hello, Christina. How are you?
Good. So why don't we start off by giving me a little snapshot of a day in the life of Dave DiCarlo?
Well, basically how my day starts is usually around 7 a.m. or earlier, depending on our workload. Day starts off pretty much with internal meetings with our design and engineering team, where we discuss current timing, upcoming work, just any current or outstanding issues that we might have, along with prioritizing the workload as well. Then I'll actually head out to the shop floor where I'll meet with the mold makers and the shop foreman, and pretty much run through the same process just to make sure that we're all on the same page as the tools are being built, and to make sure we don't have any issues on either end, my end or their end. From there, it's basically, from there it's back to my computer where pretty much I sit around and engineering quotes, current tooling statuses, quotations versus budgets, answer any questions that need to be answered from the customer or from our employees here, and answer any other questions as they filter through. You know, another part of my job actually is the sales end of it as well.
Okay.
So I am constantly contacting, potential suppliers and visiting on-site tours or even off-site tours as well.
Okay. That's a big deal, right? You need the business side of it.
Yes, and absolutely. In this during this pandemic right now, that is limited, obviously, due to the border.
Right, exactly. Oh, we can talk about that later, see what the impact is on that aspect of your job. So I know that you're a very experienced mold designer. So let's get into that a little bit. So what do you consider in all your years the top advancement in mold design throughout your career?
Oh, absolutely. It's been the software. From when we first started, everything was pretty much in 2D design. Nowadays, it's all solid modeling. So the software actually has allowed us to streamline the design process. In a sense, you're not designing something in 2D and then converting it over to 3D for the guys on the floor to run the programs. It's all done at once now.
Time saver.
Absolutely, 100%. The ability to bring in components is as simple as a lifter. A lifter has many components to it. Back in the day, when you design a lifter, you have the lifter rod, the bushings, and the housing and the T-nut assembly, and you're adjusting everything accordingly. Now it's just a matter of keying in what you want. You want a 7-degree rod with a 3-degree acceleration, just key them in and it automatically does everything for you. So it definitely makes things definitely streamlines the design process.
So what do you think in terms of a mold designer? What is the key skill or attribute to be a top mold designer?
Thinking outside the box. We run across a lot of different part configurations these days. Thinking outside the box is huge, I believe. Willingness to listen also to others, getting information from other team members, how to do things, how to approach situations, definitely helps out as well. But open mind, thinking outside the box, that would probably be the key points in my opinion.
Now, you said earlier that you spend part of your day out in the shop floor. When we started the magazine over 20 years ago, and still today, there seems to be sometimes a literal wall, but like this hypothetical wall between the shop and the design and engineering department. Talk about that a little bit in terms of Michael, and how do you collaborate or stay in constant communication with the guys on the floor on a particular project?
Yeah, well, now this may be a little cliche, but we are like a family here. We are a smaller tool shop, but that helps us communicate better. So for me to go and talk to a mold maker or one of the CNC operators, it's literally a 20-step process to get there, and same thing with the guys upstairs in the engineering and design department. It's literally down the stairs they go and they're right there. So we keep constant communication. There is no barriers, between the two, and that's what helps us, achieve a good tool at the end of the day.
Yeah. How many people are in Michael Tool and Mold?
We are 17 employees.
Okay, yeah, that is small. I think automatically when you're that small, how can you not be a family? And have that dynamic to it.
Well, you think about it, right? We're with each other more than we see our families for the most part.
It's the truth, exactly. Yeah. So what would you say is the top challenge today, specifically with mold design?
The top challenge, it's pretty much trying to give the customer all of their needs when it comes to not only the tool build, but the part configurations. You know, it seems nowadays the parts have more in them, more more features, we'll say. That's probably been our biggest hurdle, is trying to design tools without having to adjust their part geometry, because no one likes to have to go back and forth with part geometry once it's somewhat been finalized. That's probably been the biggest struggle, I would say.
Okay.
It comes for it, and that with that, you know, there's a lot of unique ideas in the tooling that we have to come up with.
I mean, it's just complexity, right? Has just gotten more and more complex, and that falls right into not even just the design time, not just the design side, that does feed on the build and maintenance side too, but it all starts with the design.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we do keep the maintenance part of it in our mind too as well.
Design for maintenance. You hear that a lot also. So I actually have been hearing a lot since COVID hit the States too, or actually hit North America, a lot more about lack of learning, right? People can't get out. People, even when you think about the schools going on, that whole complex issue for the past 6 months. But more specifically, I've heard there's a lack of true mold design training, even within university programs, you know, and tech schools. So one, do you agree with that? And if you do, like, what do you think is actually missing in terms of making sure the industry is churning out quality engineers for mold making?
Unfortunately, as far from the school standpoint, I cannot comment. I've been out of school for a while, and so I don't know. Back when I was here at the local college, they actually specifically had a mold design course.
Okay.
You know, and that's what I took. Nowadays, I don't know. As far as from a mold design standpoint, we've been lucky. We've been lucky with who we have here designing, and when we had to hire, which is not too often, but when we had to hire for designer, we've been lucky in that aspect, as well as we've got good guys.
How do you find them?
It's basically over like on a web-based type of application.
Okay, interesting. So you have, I guess, being that size too, if you're not constantly hiring new people or in a major growth mode people-wise, then you haven't really been impacted that much by that skills gap? Is that what you're kind of saying? Okay,
yes.
Good for you. Yeah. All right, so we talked a lot about your mold design, but you also program manage and you are on the sales side. So how do you think your mold design background impacts that part of your job?
Well, basically, the mold design background, that helps me talk to the customers intelligently about the tool itself. So if there's any issues with the tool, I'm pretty good at, and with the keen eye of having a design background, pretty good at assessing a problem right away. You know, they're not waiting for an answer for a week or, you know, even 3 days. It's pretty much a day or two process to get back to them and say, you know, hey, we can do this, we can't do this. These are the issues that we see, that sort of thing.
Okay, makes sense. So what is your favorite part of your job?
Favorite part of my job it has to be seeing the part come off the tool. You know, when you start this a tool, any tool for that matter, the process could be a bit strenuous, a bit frustrating at the beginning. But as you work through all your issues and you get to that final point where the tool's been designed, it's been phased out, you're dealing with the customers, you're dealing with the OEM, you're running the tool, and you see the part come off and there's no issues. It's that feeling of satisfaction. Exactly. You know what? Yeah. We hope that happens every time. But yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But it's that feeling of, you know what? Good job. Good job. Yeah. And, you know, and that's one of those things that a lot of times I'm by myself at the trials with the customer when we run the tools after they're completed. And I always make sure that you grab those parts, you bring them back to the guys here at the shop and say, guys, here, look at this. This is how they look. They love it, right? They don't show it when you're building a tool, but to see that actually what you've done, they really appreciate the fact that, you know, here, this is what we can do here, guys. Good work on it. And being that small family, everyone has a piece in every part, every tool. You know?
I mean, I would think it's so important for everybody. And I don't know that it happens in every shop environment, that they get to see the end result, even if they think that their part in that was small. Just the fact that if what you make produces an important part, and every part's important. I don't care how insignificant somebody might think it is. Even if it's a part for something bigger, it's all needed. So I think that's great that you come back and say, this is what you did today. You know, great job.
It's satisfying for everybody. They love to, you know, they love to see good work done. Yeah. And everyone likes to hear it too, right? There's a lot of course. There could be a lot of negativity in the industry. So everyone likes to hear, good job every now and then.
Yeah, you need it. It's the little things that matter, right? Well,
Absolutely.
so speaking of negativity, I can't not talk about COVID just a little bit, since
hmm
it's still going on, it's still having an impact. So how did it impact Michael Tool?
We were fortunate that we already had work in the shop at the time. So we pretty much weathered the main storm. And then I want to say when restrictions started lightening up, it seemed like everything we were quoting back in 2019 or early 2020 started kicking off.
Huh,
So then we became very busy.
nice.
So, and that's where we're at right now.
Oh, good. So you kind of stayed kind of constant.
We were lucky, yes. We were
Yeah.
lucky.
So you never shut down? You didn't have to shut down?
Never shut
And
down. We did actually, some of our employees did work from home. I
okay,
personally worked from home for probably about 4 weeks,
okay.
just till we had everything figured out.
Yeah.
Obviously engineering can work from home. It's easier to work here at the shop because you see everything. You can actually see what's going on in the machines. Obviously, the other guys on the floor can't work from home because they need their machines, they need their tools to do their job.
Yeah. So
But we did what we could.
what kind of precautions, I mean, do you have in place to actually keep employees safe? And, a big issue too nowadays I'm hearing is the whole mental health side of it, depending on who you are as an individual and how you're processing and handling this, right? No matter what side you're on, we'll call it
Oh,
sides, it's so divisive. But the shops need to take that on now and make your workers feel safe. So what does Michael Tool have done for that?
well, we originally installed a one door in and one door out policy.
Okay.
That way we make sure that everyone's coming through the same way. We actually shut down the lunchroom that we had, and
Okay.
we're maintaining that 6 foot distance from everybody in the shop. We're again being a smaller shop, we're able to do that easier than most
Yeah.
because literally I can talk to somebody across an aisle if I had to, which could be 20 feet away. Sanitizers everywhere. Everyone's getting checked periodically. Any symptoms, we're told stay home. We've been fortunate; no one's had any
Yeah.
symptoms, or family
Great.
members have any symptoms.
It's
So
awesome.
lucky there, and maybe that is a little bit because of the fact that we are smaller. We don't have a lot of
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
obviously, right? But and then we know other than that, we're just all staying safe and playing it smart.
Yeah, playing but common sense, right?
Absolutely,
Because
absolutely.
flu season's coming.
Oh, yeah.
So moving forward, what is your single biggest concern about the coronavirus?
Obviously, everything getting shut down again.
Yeah.
That's our biggest concern is everything coming to a halt once again. We were fortunate the first time. I don't know if a lot of other shoe shops in the area were as fortunate as us, and I don't know if we'll all be in that same boat if it happens again.
Yeah, exactly.
So hopefully
Yeah.
not. We got schools going back now, and so I think
Yep.
we might see numbers rise. I hope not, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, see what happens. So when this is all said and done, I'm going to say when, not if. How do you see, because a lot of shops I'm talking to that were intimately involved with projects related to COVID, getting the ventilators, the respirators, the face shields, the urgency, and that may even happen with Michael in terms of other jobs that would take precedence during this time, the urgency with which you guys have had to work and hearing the stories about what they were able to accomplish that they didn't think they were
Yeah.
in lead times, right? Just and maintaining the quality and efficiency and learning so much about their processes and their people. How do you see mold making in general emerging from this, just in the terms of the way you run your shops? Do you see a big differences happening?
Well, the one thing I do have in common is I think you see the urgency to have tool shops in North America. You need to have tool shops in your area. You have to have that accessibility to a tool shop, which leads to the whole reshoring tools. That's my biggest takeaway from it all. We need to keep the North American tool shops rolling.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, you're right, because if anything, it put a huge spotlight right on the importance of mold manufacturing. I mean, 3D printing kicked off immediately, getting stuff printed, and then it was like, that's not going to do the volume we need. And I really believe if we didn't capitalize on it, even the next generation, showing them how important mold making and molding is,
Absolutely,
it was an opportunity to showcase the capabilities of North American manufacturers. So I
absolutely.
agree. So, all right. So before I let you go, I know you led me to BlackBerry. So
Yes.
you led me to Mike. So I cannot, and he presented during a Memorable Connects and did a great job. And I'm working with him right now because from what I understand, he spent some time with you more at the shop. to learn more about this whole issue of cybersecurity. So can you just talk a little bit about your relationship and how he opened up your eyes to the importance of cybersecurity within a small business like yours?
Well, on a personal level, I met Mike years ago. My wife and Mike actually used to work together at the police station. And, Mike's gone obviously to other endeavors. When COVID originally hit and everyone started working from home, one of our main concerns was, oh my God, all the data going back and forth that we're exchanging with each other, how are we protecting ourselves?
Yeah.
And I was just in conversation with Mike one day, and he says, well, let me tell you a little bit about what we do here. And I won't go into too much of what he does, so that I hate to, put any discredit to what he does.
Right.
I don't think I would explain it properly. But basically, he ran it down for me and just said, this is what you need to instill in your facility to ensure that you don't have any issues with data exchange. And that's only on a small level. If you're talking to maybe 70 computers going back and forth with each other.
Right.
I can imagine the bigger shops when you have hundreds of computers going back and forth, exchanging information. So I really like the BlackBerry concept.
Yep.
And hopefully the MoldMaking technology end of his interview helps showcase what they can do.
Exactly, because I don't know, it was something I never really spoke too much about. And when something like a COVID, like that disruption overnight happens and people are just shifting and working from home, I don't know, like what was the thought process of some shop owners? Did they even think about that? Did it take a while? Then they're like, oh crap, like we can't just have everybody on their home devices. It's not even just you, it's your customers' data.
Yeah, I think that was the initial shock for a lot of the owners. Oh my God, what are we doing now? What do we have to do here?
Exactly. Kick it up a notch. So so an important issue. MoldMaking Technology is going to continue to cover that. Michael's working on some stuff, and I'm going to be interviewing him, and there's going to be some articles coming up, and maybe even Michael Toole Mold will be part of that. Who knows? So Dave, I want to thank you for your time today. It was great insight. It's always nice to introduce an advisory board member to the audience. There'll be more from Dave in the years to come on MoldMaking Technology. So again, thank you for your time. And to everyone watching, remember, for everything mold making related, go to moldmakingtechnology.com. Stay safe and healthy, and more importantly, stay informed and stay inspired.